Jose, what was the gun rights like in Cuba in the 40s and the 50s?
You could have your guns and you could go, and
Target practice?
no, cazar animales. I mean,
To hunt.
there,
You
wa-
can go
there,
hunting.
there was no problem, and Cuba was very peaceful.
Uh,
We for guns to be something so bad, some illness has to be in the minds of so many people that they use them wrong, probably. But the problem are not the guns, are the people. And if you have people that hate, whether it's a gun or not, you can go and smash somebody's head or destroy somebody's property, which is the same thing. And you can do it with a gun or with no gun.
Did Batista take the guns?
No. No.
Did Castro?
No. Castro, yes.
What year?
Yeah, in 1959. I tell you what, there was a speech, a famous speech of Fidel. The problem is this: Fidel takes over, but really there are other organizations and movements that also had guerrilla forces fighting Batista from different organizations, okay? Revolutionary organizations and students organizations like the Directorio Revolucionario Estudiantil, that they had fighting fronts, okay? And then in order for Fidel to control the movement, he needed to disarm everybody else. And then he asked a beautiful question: guns for what? For what? And then he demanded that all organizations that had fought Batista give their guns.
It seems like it was a mistake.
And did they all do it peacefully?
Yes, because Fidel had at that time a tremendous power on the people. Not because people wanted to have a socialistic dream that he had made them think of. Fidel never spoke about socialism or spoke good about communism. He always denied that. But he was a charismatic leader that somehow made people think at the end, well, if you say you are communist, if you say you are socialist, put me in the list. And that is the mentality that really made it very difficult for us to fight in the 1960, 1961, 1962, 1963 Fidel, because still there were people believing that he was like a god. But that had nothing to do with whether they wanted socialism or not, because not until 1961 Fidel declared the revolution socialist. That was the headline using the invasion of Iran, where then he stopped lying. In 1961, the 17th of April of 1961, the newspaper Cuban Revolution had a headline with 6 words: "We will defend our democratic and socialist revolution." Until that, and he used the invasion of Iran as an excuse to then declare socialist Cuba.
You mentioned that he was very charismatic and he had this hold on the people. I wonder if or I wonder what your thoughts are on Trump.
Well, look, I am not a hypocrite. I like Trump. I like the fact that a person speaks out what he has in his mind. I credit that. Maybe because I knew another leader, Fidel Castro, who did the contrary.
He lied.
He lied. And he lied again, and he lied again, until he found the way to say his truth when the invasion came in, and used that as an excuse to declare the socialist state. Let me clarify something about Trump, okay? I am a Cuban citizen still. I didn't come to this country to be an American citizen. I came to this country to continue being a freedom fighter. And to do that, I needed to remain a Cuban because I was committed for life. If I become an American citizen, then I have other things. No. I wanted to remind myself, no matter how good or bad I was, and I started working in factories, in production lines, in a print shop because I love papers and printing and propaganda. And I had success. I made a lot of money, but it never was my intention. I didn't come here to make money, didn't come here to look for food, to buy me shoes. I came here because at a time, all the avenues in Cuba were close to me, close. I was emotionally destroyed after an event that didn't go the way it should have gone. And I don't see how it would have been gone good anyway because it was crazy what we did. And that destroyed me. And my organization said, Bonifacio, I think if you want, we have the embassy for you and you can continue working there, and that's what I did. But let me finish about Trump something. I like that man. I have never voted for anybody. And I am not here to say vote for Trump in a second, whatever. I don't care about that. But Americans have to understand that in this country, anybody should have the right to speak out what they think. Nobody should have the right to lie, okay, and not to be confronted.
The media says that Donald Trump lies all the time, though.
No, what is his lie? I mean, tell me a couple of those lines. I don't know if he lies or not, but he's saying something openly, and you can prove he's a lie, then he's a liar. But the problem is that how many people are here telling us lies, and nobody says anything about it.
I would just say if the media institutions are supporting, Black Lives Matter, the individuals who are praising Castro and right now praising the communist regime. And look, I fact check news stories every single day. They use deceptive framing techniques and manipulation to present falsehoods, as it were. And then when I look at the things they've said about Donald Trump, you know what? He lies. But he lies about really dumb things, like how many women he's been with, or like, how he's the best and everyone knows it. Yeah. It's like really
how much money he has.
Yes. Yeah. But there's something amazing in that even The Intercept, which is very anti-Trump progressive, called him simultaneously the most like deceptive and honest president we've ever had. There's one very famous moment where he's about to get on the helicopter. And they asked him what was happening, with Saudi Arabia and stuff. And he goes, "Oh, it's fantastic. We're doing this excellent weapons deal. We're going to make billions of dollars." Yes. And everyone and all the anti-war left activists, their jaws hit the floor like Trump just came out and said it. There was another point where Trump was trying to withdraw troops from Syria. And he goes, "They tell me that we can't take out all of our troops from Syria, so we're leaving 200, for the oil because we're going to protect the oil." And then everyone's just like, he's just admitting what the U.S. does with their foreign policy. So I think one of the challenges is that there's always a risk. There's a charismatic leader who's going to come in, who's going to entrance people and lie to them. But I've been wading through the muck and the mire for years, and I can just see nonstop lies from the media. So it's different. It's not the same. You say Fidel Castro was this charismatic leader. He had everybody. I mean, where was the press? Were they challenging him? Were they calling him a liar?
What press? He destroyed the press.
What year?
By 1960, you could not really, For example, I didn't tell you this. In 1959, when the revolution took over, I began to think about a figure of the revolution that was very important during the organization of the 26th of July movement, that nobody spoke about him anymore. And we had a radio program where we started to talk about this Cuban figure. And 3 or 4 weeks after we were on the air, Fidel asked the director of the radio station that had given us the time to put us off the air. And that was 1960. They had already confiscated that radio station. They were already putting coletillas, where a newspaper writes a small column, and then the government will put at the end of that column a coletilla, the ending phrase, saying this is a lie and all
Wow.
that. And then immediately after that, there was no more. Cuba doesn't know. Castro's Cuba didn't know right after he took over what was freedom of the press. All media was controlled and is controlled by the government. There is no other opinion, nothing else. You cannot create even good or bad public opinion. The government is the one that creates the opinion they want.
What are we seeing now with Joe Biden, the Biden administration? That they are that they are currently flagging misinformation for Facebook. That they are pushing a list of the greatest misinformation individuals on the internet. That they're working with the DNC, the Democrats, and phone carriers to censor private text messages. So when I see a bombastic man of Donald Trump, but one who mostly just insulted the press, compared to what the current administration is doing in actually trying to circumvent the Constitution to take away the rights of people, to shut down their free speech, and their allies, very much progressive leftists in big tech. It sounds like we're heading towards a similar direction to what happened in Cuba.
That's why a lot more people need to look at, Cuba's only 90 miles away from our shores. And it's the perfect blueprint of what happens when you put in place a communist dictatorship or communism and socialism. Everything's ruined. Everything's fallen apart. Nothing has moved on that island since 1959. That's why people drive around in all these old cars that they literally have to just keep inventing things to keep the cars running. Buildings are falling apart. I believe it was last year there were 3 little girls playing in the street. They were killed just from falling rubble of a building. Everybody's houses are falling apart, but they're building hotels for the tourists to come and stay at, which Cuban citizens are not allowed to use.
I was going to say the progressives in this country say that's the fault of the U.S. and their embargo.
No.
But they're building hotels.
In my opinion, whether the embargo stays or is lifted, the Cuban people are going to be in the same spot, because for the regime, it's all about control. They control everything that comes in. They control everything that goes out. As it is, right, with the scraps that they have, they can barely afford those scraps. The average Cuban makes about $20, $30 US dollars a month, and they're not even paid in dollars. They're paid in pesos, in Cuban pesos. But at the stores where you go and you want to buy something, you have to buy it in dollars.
Wow.
So how does that make sense at all? And it's just everything's like upside down there. It's broken. Yes, completely.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.